the Connor Stalions documentary came out early this morning on Netflix, and I dutifully watched it for you. Now, I would say there are going to be some spoilers in this, but I don't think it's like a movie. This is not like when I talked about Twisters on air and I said, no spoilers. There's not really anything to spoil. Guys, if you've been paying attention, there's not really much in this documentary that you wouldn't have already been aware of. I think what you learn is you learn a lot about who Connor Stalions is, but I'm just telling you, I hinted at this several times over the past couple of months. I told you everything the NCAA was doing and their timeline was centered around when this documentary was going to come out. And I was intentionally guarded in my wording because what I couldn't tell you yet is what I knew. I knew the NCAA had interviewed him for several hours. I knew that. I also knew he recorded the entire thing, and that wasn't public knowledge. And so I didn't know what was on it. I had no clue. It could have been bombshells. It could have been a total firecracker that fizzles. But I knew the NCAA wasn't used to that. He was sitting on a piece of information that he was going to probably put in that documentary, and sure enough, he did. And I knew that made them uncomfortable because they didn't know what he was going to run with. Now, as it turns out, there wasn't really anything jaw-dropping, but you did get to see a Zoom meeting. You got to be taken behind the curtain on an NCAA investigation. And really, in general, it's every bit as unimpressive as you would expect the NCAA investigation to be. I'm going to be honest with you. It is my working theory that they probably had a lot of footage that could have made the NCAA look a lot worse, but it didn't serve the purpose of the documentary. I'm just telling you, these are, you picture an NCAA investigation, and your theater of the mind kicks in, and you're thinking like a dark room, and there's haze and cigarette smoke, and a guy's got his sleeves rolled up, and everyone's sweating like it's 93 degrees in the room, and there's really dimly lit setting. There's one light overhead, and there's an ashtray here, and that is not it. That is not it. It's just a bunch of career bureaucrats fumbling over notes and pre-prepared statements and questions, and the minute you throw them off their game, it's over. That's an NCAA investigation. So, I mean, I don't look, if Ryan Day went and got his brother's private investigation firm to go dig up dirt because the NCAA can't take a leak without getting the front of their pants wet, I would have done the same thing. It was one of the big allegations tossed around in this documentary. Well, Ryan Day and Ohio State are behind this. If they didn't obtain the information illegally, I couldn't care less. Because I'm telling you, I would have done the same thing. Because if I thought something wrong had been done to me, and these jokers in Indianapolis aren't going to do anything, I'll go do something. The other part of this, I saw everyone who watched this morning take to their various feeds to say the same thing. Oh my goodness, Jim Harbaugh knew. Well, of course he knew. This is not news. It's news if he admits it, which he's not going to do, but of course Jim Harbaugh knew. What can you prove? Probably nothing. Probably nothing. There was nothing that was revealed in this that revealed Jim Harbaugh knew anything other than your common sense kicking in. But your common sense should have already kicked in. Harbaugh's a smart guy. Harbaugh's a very cerebral guy. Jim Harbaugh is a guy capable of leading NFL franchises and leading major college football programs to the brink of Super Bowls or to national championships, and's got his hand on everything. To ask me to believe Jim Harbaugh didn't know what was going on is to ask me to believe he's stupid. Jim Harbaugh's not stupid. So long before I pressed play on this documentary, my common sense had kicked in and pretty well figured out, yeah, Harbaugh knew. What can I prove? What can you prove? Did you, for those of you who haven't watched this, I want you to pay attention to Dan Wetzel over at, I believe Wetzel's at Yahoo Sports. He's included in this. There's this little throwaway line. I didn't see anyone talking about this afterwards, but this is what raised my eyebrows a little bit. Wetzel revealed he filed Freedom of Information Act requests with a number of different entities related to sign stealing. And Wetzel is just, there's a nice little audio bed under it. You can tell they're about to turn the chapter to the next segment of the documentary, and Wetzel just kind of says, yeah, you can nail Clemson, you can nail Utah, you can nail several other programs if you wanted to, and and it's just move on. And I'm like, can someone please hand the mic back to Dan Wetzel? What else is he talking about? Daniel, not Cannell, Daniel Wetzel. What else do you know, sir? Which is why I always keep coming back to the same thing. As far as what's been presented in the court of public opinion and whatnot, As far as what's been presented in media, the reason I haven't gotten too terribly worked up about it is not because wrongdoing wasn't done. Of course, it was done. I think it was done. I mean, I think that they did things that were against the rules, but it doesn't go above and beyond what we hear. Do you have any idea the kind of rumors? Clemson, it was good Wetzel pointed it out. Dude, you could write a novel about the rumors that exist about Brent Venables when he was at Clemson and what they did in the way of sign stealing. And the follow-up is, okay, well, was it legal? Was it illegal? I don't know, because I don't know the details. I'm just telling you rumors exist. So what goes above and beyond? Like what am I supposed to believe is going to be the bomb that gets dropped on Michigan's head here? Not answered in this documentary. What was answered is you finally got to meet Connor Stalions. Dude sat right there on camera, and his mom and his dad and friends, shout out to our buddy Isaiah Hole, just sat there on camera and answered questions. And it's good. It was good for Connor Stalions that he did that, because that's the one thing I wondered, and I assumed he would do, but I wondered, like, is he going to introduce people to himself? Because if you've just followed this story, you picture Connor Stalions as some clown, pariah, loser, fanboy, sycophant. That's not him. He is a big fan of Michigan, but the dude is razor sharp. Went to the Naval Academy, very cerebral guy in his own right, perfectly cut out to exist in that world. And, well-spoken, represented himself well, just really passionate, and found himself a niche, found himself an in into college football, extremely intelligent, and he applied it, and he got himself into a really, really, as it turns out, extremely high-level role at the University of Michigan. Did I get the whole story from Connor Stalions? It's unlikely. Connor Stalions loves Michigan. Therefore, that makes him an unmotivated truth teller. In other words, I don't doubt that I got his story. Did I get the entire story? I probably didn't. I think he told a bald-faced lie on this documentary when he was talking about the Central Michigan game. Colin, by the way, do we have the Pate State Investigates footage? Because I'm still contemplating legal action against Netflix. This right here is a screenshot. I screenshot my screen when I was watching this documentary this morning. Screenshot is the past tense of screenshot, by the way. And do you see what they did to your boy here? Oh, they put the screenshot from Twitter. So Netflix was fine with doing that. They turned me into Josh P., not my full name. And what did they make me? Ex-user Josh? That's what they made my handle? Like, do we have no dignity and no class in this world? And is this what society has come to? In the words of Nick Saban, is this what we want college football to be? Shame on you people. You have 24 hours. You always give them an ultimatum. Kevin Malone rule, Michael Scott rule. You have 24 hours. So yeah, there was a lot of stones thrown at Ryan Day. I don't care. A lot of stones thrown back at Jim Harbaugh and the Michigan program. I do care, but I'm going to need to see a whole lot more than what this documentary showed and what's been presented in the media so far. My opinion is unchanged on this. My opinion is exactly this. As it stands right now, I think Michigan will be punished punitively and financially. I think they'll suffer a big fine from this based on what I've seen so far. I am totally open to any additional information that comes out changing my mind, but I don't have that in front of me. And I cannot go over to Bucknuts or 11 Warriors. I cannot wade through all that and treat that as the gospel. If it ends up being true, it's a slippery slope when you scan those Ohio State message boards right now. If a fraction of that is true, we're talking about a different ball game. We're talking about a wrecking ball headed towards the Michigan program. I don't know that any of that's true. So history has told me, if it's true, that's probably not where it'll surface. It'll probably come out of nowhere. You got to bring me more. Got to bring me more than that. It's well worth watching, though. Documentary is well done. They did an excellent job producing it. It's just, it didn't leave a crater in the ground, shall I say.